Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
Aloha, all of you amazing people out there. I am extremely excited today, and it is because of a couple of you. I will explain why that is in just a second. Before we get started here today, I want you to know that this episode is brought to you by Beachbody On Demand. Now, I know some of you like to work out in the gym, and some of you like to work out at home, but the rest of you don't really like to work out at all or feel you don't have the time to work out. Now, I don't like doing these little commercial things. I only share with you things on here that I personally use myself. And I have been using Beachbody On Demand since it first got started a couple years ago. The bottom line is this: you can get access to a 30-day free trial so that you can work out to Insanity P90X, over 100 different Beachbody workouts right from your tablet, phone, computer, even your TV if you have Roku. And I'm going to share later on in the show how you can get access to that 30-day free trial. Now, as exciting as Beachbody On Demand is, that's not near as exciting as this email that I received from one of you amazing listeners. And this individual just happens to be somebody I served with in the military, and we served in Iraq together, as a matter of fact. And he sent me this email completely out of the blue. But what he doesn't know is it came right on time. Now, my original plan was to go ahead and share this message with you right here before we get started on the show. However, as I started recording, I realized it needed a little bit more attention. And I didn't want to take away from our featured guest today. So I'm going to do a bonus episode. So if you're not already subscribed to menofabundance.com, make sure you subscribe right after this show, because you're definitely going to want to hear how Men of Abundance has affected this listener and how listening to Men of Abundance on a regular basis can help you live your life of abundance as well. Our featured guest today was struggling when he was in college. He had a hard time memorizing information, and at one point, he even wondered if he was going to continue pursuing his dreams because it was becoming such an issue. He decided to seek out help, and the only solution that doctors had for him were prescription drugs. Then around the same time, his own mother's health was declining. And as they started bouncing from specialist to specialist, they became very disheartened with the whole medical system altogether. It was at this point he became empowered to uncover the real reason why they were performing at less than optimal levels. Nick sought out experts in bionutrition, cellular detoxification, and epigenetics, solely focused on discovering the answer to this one persistent question. What are the most essential things you must do to live at your peak potential? What emerged was a transformative concept that we're going to talk about in this conversation. And you're definitely going to want to listen in very close. And you're definitely going to want to check out our featured guest's website at newvisionhealthcenter.com. And of course, I'll have that link in the show notes as well. Men of Abundance, I introduce you to Dr. Nicholas Zyrowski. Dr. Nick, welcome to Men of Abundance. How you doing?
Doing absolutely incredible. Thank you for having me on your show today. I really appreciate it.
Man, it's my pleasure. I see this being a very, very interesting conversation. It's right up my lane. What you do is stuff I've been screaming for so long. So where are you at in the world?
We are here in Michigan. So where we are located specifically is about 40 miles north of Detroit.
A little cold down there right now, isn't it?
It certainly is cold. It's snowing right now. It was a little bit exciting. You know, I have kids, and it's always exciting when we get our first snow of the year. And this morning we woke up and there was snow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I do enjoy that first snow. Living in it, I've lived in it. It's a whole different thing, but I do enjoy that little bit of new excitement.
Yeah, I mean, come January and February, we're wanting it to go away, but we enjoy it at least for the first couple months.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to start out the show basically how I start out pretty much every single morning, which is with an attitude of gratitude. What do you have to be grateful for today, Dr. Nick?
You know, that's a good question. As someone who actually practices gratitude on a daily basis, you know, I usually have a laundry list because I try to be really grateful for everything. But today, I'd have to say specifically, if I was going to narrow it down to one thing, it's for friendships. I had a long conversation with a friend just a little bit ago, and it was just really incredible. He just really uplifted me and really changed my perception of a couple different things that we were discussing. So friendships is what I'm really grateful for today.
Beautiful answer. I absolutely love that. And I too have such a huge laundry list. I write probably 5 or 6 of them down every morning, but there's just a huge list. That's a beautiful answer. So before we got started here, before I brought you on the show, I gave a very brief bio of who you are, what you've been up to, introduce you to the audience, but I'd like to hear it from you, and so would they. So let's get a little bit personal.
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Dr. Zyrowski. I was born and raised in Michigan. I'm from a family of 8. There's 8 of us, and when I was young and trying to decide what I wanted to do for a career, I decided that I wanted to help people. And at the time, there's so many ways you can help people. However, at the time, for me to find a way that could help people, I decided I wanted to be a doctor, so I could have a career of just literally serving people, helping people live better lives. And so I went down to Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to a doctorate program there. And throughout my program, I had some I had some unfortunate circumstances that had hit me throughout that period of time that really just kind of shook the path that I went down as far as my career went. So at the end of the day, I really started focusing in the natural health and natural well-being realm of healthcare, because that's what had helped me quite a bit. And so from that on, I decided I was going to start really working with business professionals, being that I grew up in the business world. My father was a businessman. My grandfather was a businessman as well. And so as I graduated school and determined what I wanted to do as far as my career, I really wanted to focus on helping corporations increase the level of health throughout their company. I wanted to help entrepreneurs and businessmen and women increase their overall level of health. I've seen it my whole life where business professionals and entrepreneurs literally literally build a life on they build their life at the complete destruction of their own health. So they destroy their health in the process. They build a family, they build a career, they build a business, they build just this incredible life for themselves, but at the end of it, their health is empty. And many times they suffer heart attacks and just horrible diseases because they gave everything in life to be able to have the dream life that they wanted, but at the end of it, their health was gone.
Yeah, that's just tragic. And I've been saying this for so long. I was an Army medic for 25 years, and over the last 6 years, I really got into health and fitness and studying it and learning more about it and just how the body can regenerate itself simply by treating it right, feeding it the right foods, looking at the type of foods that we eat. Is organic truly organic? Are these supplements good for you? And all of these
Absolutely.
Questions. And all of these, yeah, exactly, all these questions. And then when I heard you, and honestly, I can't remember where I first heard you speak, maybe on EOFI or something like that. I listened to so many podcasts, but I know it was on a podcast. And I listened to your story 2 or 3 times. And then I looked you up. I did a little bit of social media stalking, and and it's so easy to do these days. And just seeing what you were doing, and then I contacted you. I said, I got to get this guy on the show because, man, your health is everything. Your health is just everything. No matter what you do, if you're a business, if you're working for somebody else, if you're working from home, entrepreneur, ultimately your family wants you around and healthy. So I just think it's amazing what you're doing.
Well, thank you, and I greatly appreciate that. And I hope that between you and I on this show, we can really get that message out there to people that it is an absolutely important, crucial part of your life. I mean, you at the end of building your dream life, whatever that might be for you, at the end of it, you want to have your health. You don't want your dream life to be cut short because you did it all at the expense of your health.
Agreed, absolutely. So, along the way, and I know, you went and got your doctorate in medical and everything and wanted to help people, but along the way, I know anybody who is moving forward, and especially anybody who's trying to help somebody else, call it whatever you want. There might be, some sort of intervention in the universe, or just the way it happens in life. There's always at least one, if not several, kick in the gut moments. And I'm sure you've got at least one very good kick in the gut moment, that one that you just felt to your core. And I'd love for you to share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started my whole program that I was going through, my doctorate program, literally the whole beginning of it was just an absolute kick in the gut moment. I remember when I had first started my program, I think it was my second day on campus, I got a call from my mom, and my younger brother had died from heart failure. It was really tough for me to stay in the program. I really just wanted to move back home and be with my family. But I was like, this isn't what he would have wanted, so I ended up sticking it out. Not only, it was probably about 6 months later, got a call, another call from my parents. My grandmother had died. And within the next year, and within a 2-year period, I lost 4 family members. And so this was all when I had started my program, which extends 6 years or so. So it was really tough for me. And amidst all of that, I had also started to lose my own health, and I think it was just because of the emotional stress of all these situations. And as you know, going through school to become a doctor is like the absolute most stressful thing that you can do. I mean, it's just, you're just getting beaten with tests and boards and exams one after another. And so I started to lose my own health. Now, my health started to go downhill, not in the way that I started having noticeable changes, as in like rashes and things like that. I suffered from a problem that we determined was brain inflammation, and it can happen through toxicity, hormone related issues, gut related issues. Brain inflammation can happen so many different ways, and as a result of that, what happens is you start to lose your ability to focus. You start to lose your ability to to memorize things. Like, could you imagine trying to go become a doctor and not being able to have like a memory that was worthwhile at all? So as my health declined, my brain function totally declined. I was just absolutely struggling in school, struggling in life in general. And I remember, and this was the big kick in the gut moment for me, is that I had a 2-week break coming up from school. And I was like, I literally cannot and will not go on like this anymore. I cannot live like this. I was married. I already had a family. I was in incredible debt. I was struggling beyond belief with my health and being in school. And I was like, I can't go on with like this. So during this break, I'm going to make a decision. I'm either going to quit school because this isn't for me and it's killing me, literally killing me, or I'm going to find a way. And what I determined is, I'm not the type of person who gives up in life. So I determined I was going to find a way. And one of my favorite my favorite sayings that I've ever heard, I heard this from a speaker on stage one time, and he said, it's never the facts that stop you from achieving your goals. It's the stories you tell yourself why it can't be done. And so I knew that I could find a way, and I needed to stop telling myself stories of why I couldn't. And I had to take control of the situation. How I did that is, I still remember today, as I got this big Tony Robbins audio set, and I think it was like The Ultimate Edge, I think it was called, and I listened to that every single day throughout that vacation I was just talking about. And that was to get my mind right, because my mind, as far as, once you get beat up enough in life, it's really hard to get yourself back on track. So that was to get my mind right. But finding a way to actually continue on with my career goals and finish schooling and get through boards and everything else, the way I did that was through better health. I went and I started getting lab testing done. I started taking my nutrition to the next level. I started doing everything right. And I was, mind you, I was a pretty healthy guy at the time, as in I was concerned about my nutrition. I was concerned about exercise. So I started taking that all to the next level, doing lab testing and really finding with pinpoint accuracy what was going on in my life. And so from there on out, and that's really the kick in the gut moment I think of when you ask me. And that was a big deciding factor in my life that really decided where I would go, and is the reason I'm here today.
So basically the whole pivot point was really just focusing more and taking your health to the next level.
Absolutely. After my health was destroyed, it was taking my health to another level using some really scientific-based methodologies.
Right, and then basically, so what you did, correct me if I'm wrong here, is what I'm getting from that is, one, you took care of your health by what you're putting in your body, your physical activity, and what was going in your mind, because obviously you were listening to the Tony Robbins every day, and that man in your head every single day is definitely going to change something in your life without a doubt.
Absolutely. It was like a 30-day program, and I had to have the mindset going forward. Even if I changed my health, I still needed that proper mindset.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I share with Men of Abundance on a regular basis on the show, on the blog, in my live Facebook videos, is ultimately what it all comes down to, no matter what, is your mindset. What you put in your mind, the food you feed your brain is, what comes out. Like they always say, same with your food, junk in, junk out. So yep. I just think that's amazing that you did that. So now, as you were going through medical school, when you first made the decision to go into medical school, you were obviously wanting to be a doctor, but did you see it going the route that it eventually took?
Well, I really didn't, and the reason for that was because, traditionally you don't learn a whole lot in the natural realm of healthcare, right? However, when I was facing the issues that I was facing, you can't medicate your way out of stuff like that. Like long term, if we're being honest with ourselves, we know that putting up a Band-Aid on it is not going to fix any problem, right? And there's no health problem that you can fix with a Band-Aid. And I'm not knocking the medical industry by any means. However, I'm just saying that we want to make sure that we go in there and truly fix these problems. And so, I could have went the route where I said my brain's not working, so what I need to do is get some type of prescription drug to help me focus. But I knew that wasn't the answer. And so what I did is I went and figured out what was truly going on. Right.
So, wow, there was a couple points that I wanted to make there. And one, I completely agree with you in that, you said it when you first started talking there about you can't really, what was it? You can't really learn everything that you need to know in medical school.
You can't. No, absolutely. Yeah. Much of the learning is actually done outside. I've flown all over the country to so many different places to actually learn from the best of the best in the world of natural health care and how to get people well. And so, you learn a certain amount in school, but you also have to take that education outside of school to the real world.
Right, and that's true in pretty much everything. You go to school, you learn the basics, you learn what's in the textbooks. They don't change as quickly as things change in real life. And then you go out and you get that hands-on training. You connect with people that have been doing it, and then you specialize in a specific area, and you communicate and you connect with those guys, men and women, who have been doing closer to what you want to do. And then you also mentioned about you don't want to just put a Band-Aid on it, because if it's a gaping wound and there's blood spurting out, you got to fix the problem. And
exactly.
It's true, yeah, and it's true internally. Now, my wife and I, we just don't take medication very well. We are very poor about that. We always try to find a remedy. Perfect example. I had been told that my testosterone was low. They wanted to put me on the patch, and I looked at the side effects, and they were supposed to do a cancer test before they gave me the patch and all this other stuff. And we do a lot of research on that stuff. Like I said, I've been in the medical field for 25 years. I've been around doctors most of my adult life. And we just looked for other remedies, and I found another remedy. And within a couple weeks, my testosterone was back to where it should have been. It was too low. I brought it back. Same thing with my cholesterol. I didn't want to take Lipitor and stuff like that.
And the same goes for all these different, health problems. I just had a gentleman I was working with yesterday, and he when he came to me, he was all upset. He said, "Well, I found out I have high blood pressure, and I can't live like this. And I went to do my stress test, and they turned me away because my blood pressure was so high. So they're sending me to another guy to either find another medication to go with my blood pressure." And or they're going to double the dose or possibly triple the dose. And I said, well, hold on here. I said, what are you doing, and what have you done to take care of your blood pressure? And his answer was nothing, and I knew that. But I said, okay, well, besides doing that, how about we try some alternative methods here? What about taking fish oil, right? Fish oil is known to help with blood pressure. What about taking CoQ10 in order to help ubiquinol to help with your blood pressure? What about taking a natural herbal cardiovascular support to help with your blood pressure? What about getting off the sugar and the carbs for a period of time? So there's so many things you can do. Now, not in a million years are those blood pressure medications going to fix his blood pressure problem. They will physiologically change the state of his blood pressure, because that's what they're designed to do. They'll alter his blood pressure, in which is a good thing to do, because if your blood pressure gets completely out of control, obviously that can lead to serious heart problems, right? But there's so many things that can be done in the natural realm of things that will truly fix the blood pressure problem. Those will not truly fix it. They will cover it up. They will be the Band-Aid. It's, I always tell people, taking a medication is like having the all the little lights on the dash of your car go on, and then you just put duct tape over them to cover them up and say, hey, we fixed the vehicle. You didn't fix the vehicle. You just covered it up. You covered up the problem. And so there's so many things that can be done, and that's how I work with people in order to naturally fix their health concerns.
And I really want to get into that. That's what I really wanted to have you on the show for, is to have that conversation. But I do have a question for you, and that is, and I could ask this question of any of the guys that I work with, because I still work in a hospital out here in Hawaii. And the question that I have for you, because you really have kind of, I'll say, you've moved over to the other side of this, is why is it that so many doctors are not as quick to do what you're doing now, and instead just giving them the medication that really just covers up the issue?
To be honest with you, I don't even know how to answer that, because to me it's just so easy to throw stones. Like, I don't like to pick on other professions. I don't like to pick on other doctors, but it's just so easy to throw stones at them. So my honest answer is I just don't know. Here's the thing too, and this may be it. Now, when people look at health, right, it makes them, get all warm and fuzzy inside, and they think that when they go to a hospital that everything is always being done in their best interest, and that the hospital advisors everything's being done in their best interest, and the drug companies are doing things in their best interest. These things are all industry. These things are these are companies. These are businesses. It is their business to push a certain prescription and get as many people on it. It's their business to take these sick people and put them on a prescription drug, and that's how they make money. The more drugs that they can sell, the more money they make. It's just simple as that. And who doesn't want to make more money, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we look at some of the richest companies, just very, very wealthy companies in the world, they're typically these same very companies that are pushing the prescription drugs, creating the prescription drugs, and so I think that one of the major reasons is really just profit driven. And let's face it, like in the natural health side of things, we don't make nearly as much money as they do in the sick care industry. I mean, if somebody comes to me and I work with them for a lifetime to prevent them from getting diabetes or cancer or something along those lines, I would never make as much money as if they just went in for cancer treatments. I saw that the average cancer treatment was about $250,000, and so and that is if somebody was to develop cancer and then go through the treatment phases and then move on in life. Let's say they survived all of it, but $250,000. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't make that working with somebody in a lifetime to help them prevent cancer. So there's a lot more money in the sickness and disease industry than there is in the health and wellness industry.
Exactly. That's a very good answer. And you said it exactly as I've said it before too, is there's a big difference in the healthcare industry and the sick care industry. And I like your answer because, like I said, I do work in a hospital, and I want to make a very serious point here. Is number one, hospitals are inherently dangerous places to be because of a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to get into it here. But I will also tell you that the hospital that I work in, and I've worked in three hospitals actually, and this hospital I've worked in for 9 years, we have meeting after meeting after meeting every day, every week on the biggest number one concern is patient care. And their hearts are in the right place. I'm telling you that right now, their hearts are in the right place. But one is based on their training, on what they're taught and what they know and what they can legally do under their practice and under their license. But I'm going to put this back, my question, I'm going to put it back on the patient, because it's my belief that also, speaking with other doctors and physician's assistants and nurse practitioners, is quite frankly, most patients won't do what they're told to do if it's not easy. And it's sometimes even you have to take 8 days of a certain antibiotic. They'll take 6 days and forget about one of the 2 days somewhere along the line just because they forgot. So it's easier to do that and to make the patient feel better and have a better quality of life on a daily basis than it is to tell them and actually sit them down and educate them with a nutritionist who is one of the lowest paid, if it is a doctor. If it is a doctor, it usually isn't. It's usually somebody who's certified as a nutritionist, and that's the most important person in the hospital because they're going to prevent you, and many times, from getting diabetes and heart disease and all these other things. So, yeah, I like this conversation. I like that we're having this conversation.
Yeah, and so, like I said, I'm not here to throw stones or pass judgment onto people, but it's just the whole industry altogether. I mean, how is it, or why is it that we can sit down and turn on the TV and what we see more than anything is drug commercials that are literally, convincing people to go and tell their doctor that they need that drug, and so there's a big problem there. And then I do agree with you going back on the patient, because trust me, this drives me a little bit crazy working with people sometimes, is that a lot of people are they want that quick fix. They want that instant gratification, and they don't want to have to actually put effort into it. Sometimes I'll work with patients and they'll come back to me and they'll complain about the same thing over and over again. And, at the end of the day, what they need to do is lose weight, but they are not willing to actually go to the gym on a regular basis. So the list goes on that people are looking for that instant fix, and they don't want to do things like you said, even taking an antibiotic for a period of 6 days or something can be way too strenuous for many people. So I can't say that I work with a lot of people. Like, people who work with me are committed, because that's the only way that I take somebody on. Like, they are committed, they're locked in and ready to go, and just want to take their health and their lifestyle and everything to the next level. So I don't get a lot of people who are really dragging their feet that work with me. But yeah, I mean, people really have to take their health into their own hands and understand that it's not Obamacare or any other insurance company that's responsible for your health. It's you responsible for your health, because at the end of the day, you suffer and nobody else.
Very, very good point. So now let's get into what you're doing. Let's get into I know you've got many good news stories. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what you're doing for your clients really how you transitioned into that as you went through your doctorate and through life in general, because I know that that period of time when you had so many close family members passing right in front of you for many degenerative diseases and whatnot, and also share a couple good news stories in that story as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's our lives that really shape us to be who we are today, and it was just through a lot of frustration with my own health and watching other family members suffer. I watched my grandfather suffer from cancer for years, and it was just absolutely terrifying and awful to have to witness. So after seeing that, I decided that, first of all, for me personally, I believe that natural health is the way to go. That's how I healed myself, and that's how I'm able to even outperform people that I couldn't touch at one point in my life. Just have the mental stamina to outperform them, and I do now. So after helping or after seeing my grandfather and many people suffer, I decided that the natural health industry was where I wanted to be. And so I basically started just putting all my focus in that field and really just learning everything there was to know. I started seeking out the best of the best, and for me, when it comes to health, the only thing that matters is results. I mean, I could sit here and tell you wonderful stories and things that sound really good, but really results is what matters. I found people who got results, and I learned from them, and they were my personal mentors. And many of the things that they were doing are things that I do today in my practice. And through a sophisticated analysis and consultative process, what we do is we identify disorders and really uncover upstream data to determine why people their health is just being robbed from them. And so, if we can determine what's going on through specific lab testing, and then come up with a game plan with creating a very sophisticated and customized health regimen for them, then we're able to load the dice in their favor so that they're able to live a life that is free of sickness and disease. And this isn't some silly little thing. I mean, this is well proven in the research. I mean, that we can avoid things like heart disease, and we can avoid heart attacks, and we can avoid cancer. And so if we can actually start removing some of these things from our body, because it's not always just about putting things in, it's about removing things too. We do a lot of detoxification in my practice. And so if we can actually remove some of these toxins from the body and fill the body with the right nutrients that it needs and the right genetic requirements that the body needs as well, then people are able to live really good lives. Many people do all the wrong things. They don't sleep well, they don't exercise well, they don't eat well, and they do all the wrong things, and then some reason they're stumped when they get sick and they have some type of debilitating problem. Right. And so we really work to get people just functioning at their highest level possible through cellular nutrition and detoxification, and at that point they're able to really show up in life. They're able to show up in life with energy, and I mean, I work with some gentlemen that are they're double my age, and they're just performing like you would not believe. They're businessmen who have a lot on their plate. They're jumping in and out of planes a couple times a week, just high performance lifestyles, and they're killing it, and they have the health. And it's funny because a lot of people like comment on it, like, how in the world do you get up, you're 60 something years old, and you get up in the morning and run 6 miles, and then you show up and work a 8 to 10 hour day, and they're like, how do you do it? And they think they're crazy, but that's what happens when you take care of yourself.
Yeah, very good point. Absolutely. So when you said that you learned from other people, were those other doctors, or were they other people in the health and fitness industry? Who are those people? I mean, what were their vocation? What were they doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good question. So there's a little bit of both. I'm never too good to learn from somebody who's not a doctor. I mean, and I say that because in the world of doctors, a lot of times there's some ego there, right? And you're not going to learn from somebody who's lesser than you. I'm never too good. I'm never above that. Like I said, results are results, and I don't care if it's somebody in somebody in a mountain somewhere and they're getting results healing people. Like, I want to know about it. So I learned from nutritional experts, detoxification experts, people who are experts in fasting, people who were experts in healing cancer naturally. All people who are experts in healing all types of chronic conditions naturally, right? I mean, things that you are completely unheard of in the world of healing, as in they'll tell you that these are diseases that you cannot reverse. And I learned from people who would reverse chronic diseases that are thought to be irreversible. And so I just sucked up as much education as I could, and I still continue to do that today, just constantly learning the newest and most cutting edge things out there in the health field, because that's what we deliver to our clients, and that's what they expect.
Our body is an amazing machine. It's an amazing thing, and our mind is just so much more powerful than what we can imagine. And the ability to learn from other proven, like you said, the data is there, the lab tests are there, the proof is there, the action is there. But when you are working with your patients and with your clients, obviously this isn't something that doesn't take any action, or it obviously takes some work on their part as well, right?
Absolutely, yep. And I tell people right off the bat, like, look, if you are just looking for some sort of magic pill and you don't want to have to put any effort in yourself, then I'm not your guy. But if you're committed to changing your life and you're willing to take the necessary steps that it will take, then I'm your guy. Like, I'm going to make that happen. I'll do whatever it takes to get you to where you want to be, but you're going to have to put some effort in on your own too. We have to look at some of these things that are absolute genetic requirements to the human species, right? I mean, so to say that I can get you well and I'm not going to suggest an exercise regimen would just be crazy. It would be crazy. I mean, exercise, it's absolute fundamental, and we'll call it a nutrient because it's absolutely required for our genetics. We require it as humans. Exercise, we have to have it. And so there are some things in there. Yeah, you have to put some effort in that realm. I'm not looking to turn somebody into a CrossFit star or a triathlete, unless of course that's what they want to do. But we're going to need to exercise. Like, there are some things, you're going to have to put some effort in.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, as far as not turning people into, triathlete or CrossFit star or something like that, because the commercials are out there, and I'm associated with companies, and I've been associated with companies that are part of those commercials, and they put it out there. But the commercials are out there like that because that's what the market proves that the people want. So they put that in front of their face. So now when you go watch the movie Spartan or something like that, then you want to grow up, you want to go out and be Spartan in the next 3 weeks, or one of those guys that are out there. And, that's what's out there. And I get it. That's that microwave mentality that we're just conditioned with. And I'm the same way. It's so nice to be able to have people contact me. I have people contact me and say, hey, I need help with my run. I need help because I'm military based. They have to get past a run in a certain amount of time. I need help with my push-ups. I need help with my diet. And my first question to them is, are you willing to do what I tell you to do, what I suggest to you? If you're not, then I'm not going to have this conversation. We're just done right here. And then we start talking about meal plan. We start talking about diet. We start talking about, well, they drink, 2 liters of Coke every week or something like that, or more.
Right.
And I'm okay. So the first thing I want you to do is replace the Coke, the soda, with water. And they're like, oh my God, I can't. What? Right. Wait a minute. I got to give up coffee. Well, that's even hard for me to suggest because I drink coffee. But I have given up coffee, and I have given up meat. Now that's the biggest one. I tell people give up meat for about 3 weeks and see how you feel. Seriously, red meat. And I did that myself. I did it for 21 days, and I felt freaking amazing. I'm a carnivore. I love my meat. But I now know that meat just tears our body up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of people who decide to go vegetarian. And the reason for that is because I think it's a gateway to toxicity. Many people that I see that are vegetarians, they kind of fulfill that need of or that want of eating meat after they stopped with eating a lot of garbage. It slowly kind of trickles into that, right? You're a vegetarian, so you're hitting up the donut shop. You're a vegetarian, so you're eating French fries and a lot of carbs. And so I don't suggest that. However, I'm a big I love suggesting for people to do fasting and doing juice cleanses and doing going without meat for a period of time. That's okay. I think that's great. Our bodies need breaks. Our bodies need to rest. As a matter of fact, another thing, we were talking about how running is an absolute required nutrient for the body because it's required by our genetics. Another thing that is required by our genetics as well is periods of fast. So when you look at our ancestors, they didn't have meat year-round. Like, you ate good during a couple months of the year, but that was it. And so there'd be periods where maybe that all they had to eat was meat, and then there'd be periods where they didn't have meat, and then there'd be periods where so anyway, there would be periods too that they had to fast. So it's another thing that's required by our genetics. And if you look at some of the major what would you call them? Like, really popular doctors over the years, and who have done really great things, and lived incredibly long lives, free of all types of sickness and disease. Many of them had fasted on a regular basis, and it's an incredible healing tool for the body as well. So that, once again, I'm a big fan of, like you said, taking things out for periods of time in order to allow the body to heal. It serves a very, very strong healing purpose to the body.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And it's very important to do that the right way as well.
Yes. Yes. The side note, make sure that you're having somebody help you with that, because you don't want to just jump into those things. I mean, even if you're going to do a fast, there's a right way and a very wrong way. And especially if you have some sort of health condition, there's also some very wrong ways to go about doing that too. So, just a side note, have somebody that's monitoring that, like myself or another doctor.
Right. So you mentioned running several times, and I've been an avid runner my entire life. Right now I have some pretty serious knee joint issues that prevents me from running as much as I'd love to. So I do other stuff to get my cardio up. What are your thoughts about resistance training, like barbell training and lifting weights and whatnot?
Oh, I love it. When it comes to exercise, and by the way, I'm a huge athlete. I played college hockey. I played football. I played most sports out there. Today, I'm a huge runner. Love weightlifting. I'm a triathlete. I do races like Spartan races. All around, I'm a huge athlete. And when it comes to exercise as a whole, the way I look at it is that you need to do a little bit of everything. I have some people that I know of, and they're just runners, and all they do is run, but they never touch the weights. I know people who are weightlifters, and they just want to sit and lift weights, but they would never think of actually going for a run. And so, for me, it's a delicate balance between everything. And what I have found, the best athletes out there, and the just, truly powerful, strong bodies, they do a little bit of everything. They run a couple days a week, they weightlift a couple days a week, they jump into a yoga class a couple days, or maybe once a week or something like that. And so I love all different aspects of exercise, and I think all of it should be utilized to really create a overall strong, healthy, powerful body. Because there's huge downfalls to only sticking to your one category. I mean, could you imagine, like, a weightlifter, for instance? That's great that they have these big muscles, and many times that they look very healthy, but also from a cardiovascular standpoint, they're really not exercising that muscle, which is your heart, at a high level is if you were going to do some high intensity interval training, or just go for a 6-mile run or something like that.
Right, yeah, because, the bodybuilders, while they look great and they're strong as heck, in many cases their cardiovascular system just really kind of blows, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that's what, like, there's a perception of being very healthy when you're actually not healthy at all. I mean, in that one time I knew this guy who he literally walked out of the gym and fell over from a heart attack. Just fell over. The guy he looked extremely healthy. I mean, he was always really built, and you just look at the guy and he looked like he should be like on Men's Health magazine or something like that. And then one day he walked out of the gym and literally fell over from a heart attack. And it was really interesting because it just goes to show you, like, sometimes there's more to health than what meets the eye. Just having this beautiful, strong, like, muscular, ripped body doesn't mean that you're not, like, your cells aren't inflamed, and that you're actually really suffering from a systemic you're not suffering from a systemic inflammatory issue.
Yeah, there used to be a popular mindset when I was much younger, in my 20s, and I know it's still around today in some people, even with all the education we have, and that is, for the guys that are just lifting just to get big, they can eat anything that they want, and they literally would.
Right.
And you just can't do that. So,
no,
and we've already gone into the nutrition.
Yeah, I actually, one of the tests that I run in my practice is a test to look at the cardiovascular system, and it's really interesting because, sometimes I'll take that test and do it on an individual who appears to be really healthy, and then their inflammatory markers in their heart is completely just off the charts. There's markers like what's known as LP little a, and they're just inflammatory markers, and they tell you if the heart, the overall heart and cardiovascular system has a serious inflammation issue. And it really surprises me on some of the people who have some serious cardiovascular issues, even though they appear to be healthy. And I mean, we're looking at it from the most scientific aspect possible. There's no guesswork in there. And so it's something that you'd have to really consider.
Excellent. So, Dr. Nick, at this point, we are going to pay it forward to Men of Abundance. You ready to do that?
Let's do it.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to the same exact system that I use for my own personal workout. I work out right here at home, right here on my back lanai, and I absolutely love it for so many reasons. One, I don't have to drive to the gym. I just get up between 4:30 and 5, throw on some shorts and my shoes, and grab my computer and head out on to the back lanai and do whatever workout I'm going to be doing for that day. This week I'm doing a 22-minute hardcore with Tony Horton and some veterans. And I'm loving it because I get a great workout in just 22 minutes. But if I don't feel like doing 22-minute hardcore and I feel like I want a more extreme workout, then I'll do Insanity or Asylum. Or if I want something a little bit more toned down, then hell, I can do one of the yoga workouts that are in there. You name it. Anything in between is in Beachbody On Demand. Now, if you do like going to the gym, this is the amazing thing. You can stream Beachbody On Demand on your smartphone, tablet, or computer. Whatever you can put in your gym bag, you can take it to the gym with you. Perfect workout to take to the gym with you would be Body Beast with Sagi Kalev, or Hammer and Chisel with Sagi and Autumn Calabrese. It's like taking a personal trainer with you to the gym. And Beachbody On Demand tracks all of your workouts, which is extremely important, as I'm sure you know. All of your meal plans are built right in there, the calendars, everything you need for your health and nutrition is built into Beachbody On Demand. But I want you to try it out before you fully commit to it. And the way you can do that is get a 30-day free trial by going to menofabundance.com/BOD. If it's not everything I'm talking about, if it's not everything that you feel you need for a workout program, then just cancel before you get charged. But even when you do decide that it's everything you've been looking for in a workout program, you only get charged $38.87 every 3 months. So you get access to hundreds of workout programs, meal plans that you can personalize to yourself, all the calendars, and you can get 10% discount on all the other Beachbody products. So to get started today, go to menofabundance.com/BOD or click in the link of the show notes, and it'll take you right there so you can get started today. Now let's get back to the show. Excellent. So give Men of Abundance 1 to 3 actionable steps that they can take today.
Absolutely. So you know what? I mean, I'm in the health world, so I'm going to give you some different things you can do for your health. And you know, first of all, you need to start exercising. If you're not exercising right now, you got to get out and do it. It's estimated that a 30-minute walk a day could reduce heart disease by 90%. That's just a walk. That's a 30-minute walk. So get out. If you're not exercising right now, get out and start exercising. Get out with the kids and go for a walk. Go for a walk with your dog, your wife, and start there. And then you can progress from that level. Now, the next easy implementation actionable step I could give you is start eating better today. The food that you're putting in your body is all your body has to actually create new blood cells, create and regenerate new skin. I mean, what you're eating is what your body has to use for building blocks. When you go and start looking at what a healthy diet would look like, just think meat and vegetables and stick to that. Some of the other things that really cause major health issues in the world today is overconsumption of sugar and overconsumption of grains. So when you look at the first 2 actionable steps, is 1, get out and start exercising, 2, start eating a better diet. And then the last thing that I would make a suggestion to you for in the health realm of things is to start doing some basic level supplementation. A lot of people are not getting the proper nutrients that their body needs. In order for your heart to beat like it does, you need proper nutrients. It needs the proper fuel. So just taking a good old fish oil and a good old multivitamin is going to do wonders for you. And this is very basic level health practices. And so if you do those 3 things and you start implementing those 3 easy actionable steps, I think that your health is going to really go to a level much higher than where it is right now.
Excellent advice. I appreciate that. And everything that you just mentioned is very easy to do. The problem is it's very easy not to do. So just do it. Just give it a week, men, and I would love for you to report back and tell us how you feel after just a week of doing those 3 easy, actionable steps. So what daily habits make up the biggest impact in your life?
You know, it's a good question, because when I was thinking about that, there was a period of time where I literally had this like really strict regiment that my morning routine and my nighttime routine, and I'm not a routine type of guy. I'm really not. But one of the things that I've done on a consistent basis that has really helped me and that is literally taking 10 minutes every morning to myself and just getting my mind right. And the other thing that I do too is, as far as a daily habit that has been very good for me, is to do incantations. And it's just making your mind go to the right place, like literally forcing your mind to be in the right place, so that you can start the day with a positive, winning attitude, and you can really go in and make the most of your day because your mind is right.
Very good. What book would you recommend to our abundant leaders, and why?
My favorite book right now, and it has been for a while, and it's just one that just helped me out in an incredible amount, and it's called The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. It's a book that it definitely takes a Christian perspective, and I'm a Christian guy, so I can appreciate that. But even if you're not the type of person who is a very strong Christian, this book can help you so much. Having a winning attitude really can change your life in so many ways. It makes you take on opportunities that you may not have taken on. It'll help you, have conversations you may not have had. It'll help you treat people better. And so having a positive attitude and also looking at the world through a positive lens, it really just helps you out in life a phenomenal amount. Now, the book is called The Power of Positive Thinking, and it gives you that mindset shift to help you look at the world in a completely different manner.
That's a very good book. The first time I read that book, it's probably one of the first top 5 personal development self-help books I've ever read. Just an amazing book, and I'll have that book listed in the show notes at menofabundance.com, and I'm pretty sure that book would be on audio as well. So I got one last question for you, Dr. Nick, and that is, what does living a life of abundance mean to you?
Living a life of abundance, to me, it really is a matter of finding happiness in life. You can live a life in happiness. Really is different for every person. Some people, it's about how much money they have in the bank. Some people, it's about having a wonderful family. And so as you go through life, you get beat up. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, I've just seen some of the greatest people in the world get beat up and turn out to just be absolutely miserable. And so, throughout life, I think that regardless of how much you get beat up and how many injustices happen to you, I really think you just always have to find happiness in your current state and be happy with who you are today and be happy with the decisions you make in life. And so happiness is a really big thing for me, and so that I can once again have a winning positive attitude every single day, and happiness is a big part of that.
Very good answer. Yes, once I made that realization that happiness is, once you have happiness, then success comes. It's not the other way around. I completely resonate and agree with what you just said.
Absolutely. And I think one of the big things, right? I mean, obviously we talked about health is absolute crucial and one of the most important things that you really need to have in your life. But having a winning attitude every single day that is positive in nature is going to just set you way above other people. It's going to put you at a whole new level that you would have never even expected.
Completely agree. So how can people get a hold of you and find out more about what you're doing and possibly even use your services?
Absolutely. What you could do is go to newvisionexcel.com, and that is spelled NUVISIONEXCEL. So it's New Vision Excel. I wanted to point that out because it is spelled different than what most people would think. So newvisionexcel.com, and you can just click on the Start Here tab and learn what we're about, learn what I'm doing. And if you want to further discuss some of the different potential health problems that you're having, or just want to discuss taking your health to the next level, just go ahead and schedule a complimentary consultation with me. I'd be glad to jump on the phone with you as a courtesy to the Men of Abundance podcast. I'll jump on a call with you, do a complimentary consultation with you, and see if I can help you out. And if I can, then I'll be more than happy to. And if not, and there's a challenge that you're facing, I will certainly refer you to someone that can help you.
Yeah, I truly appreciate that. So I will have that link in the show notes at menofabundance.com. Dr. Nick, I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate all the information you shared with us, and I really enjoyed this conversation.
Hey, it was my pleasure. And like I said, I'm just glad I'm able to add value to your listeners and support you as well.
Excellent. Have an awesome day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, all of you abundant leaders, if you stuck around this long, I know you got a lot out of that conversation. I know that was a long episode, but I'm telling you, I was really getting into it. I love having a conversation about health and fitness, especially with somebody like Dr. Zyrowski. What an amazing individual. What an amazing story. Now go out and live your life of abundance and make sure to pay it forward.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, Be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.